Hey there everyone, Luke here. First thing I've got to say before we get into the review today, hope you had a great break. As for me, I decided to just take a break. I didn't do the Doctor Stone reviews because I'm still debating to myself whether or not I should do them, but then I thought no, I earned a break after the last year with doing not just the reviews but also Control Chaos modcasts, which by the way, go and look at them. We've got more coming out. We've got plenty in the pipelines, and also we've done the current progression series on the Yu-Gi-Oh, going through all the Yu-Gi-Oh packs and doing mini tournaments on there. Which, by the way, anyone in Control Chaos Discord who wants to join us in that, more than welcome to come and join us whenever you want. Like if Pyjams, I'm not sure if you said that. I'm not sure if you said you did Yu-Gi-Oh or not, but if you did, you're always welcome to come and join us whenever you're up for it. But yeah, just wanted to say that, and whenever I do decide to do the next two chapters of Doctor Stone, that remains to be seen. And also as well, because me and Pyjams and one other person have started, like I said, started doing a watch through of classic Doctor Who, which don't know when we'll be doing the next story arc of that one. Hopefully it'll be during this week that we do that. Pyjams, let me know and we'll sort something out with that. But for now, let's just dive right into the chapter. Alright, so this will be chapter 162, titled Career Counselling. So pretty much in a new part of the story right now, getting back into more focusing on the slice of life, which is what we all expected to be happening, like just having the downtime as the author figures out the next major thread in the story. And I think he's already figured it out, because this chapter just dumps a boatload of storylines, potential story arcs that we could be seeing further down the line. But yeah, starts off with a colour page focusing on Kengo and Futaba basically doing the nails. So having a nice brother and sister moment there, painting nails and just getting to know each other, doing something that they both would both generally like, and helping to build on their relationship. So pretty nice colour page there, and perfect one to start off the New Year batch of chapters. I know we had the one before the break, but this pretty much starts off the New Year batch of chapters. So anyway, the chapter starts off in the Spy Association with Kai and Koricho having a meeting with Tao, and I just love like the general aura of Koricho just being like, why do I even have to be here doing this for Tao? Like, I don't want to be here doing this. And Kai was probably like, you're gonna be here because out of all the Yozakura siblings, you're the one that's mentored this guy the most. So you have to be there. And also, you're technically his teacher at the school. So yeah, you have to be here. Think of this like as a guidance counselor for a school creature, and creature's probably just like, oh, fine. I'm gonna be doing that, and something that I've not really touched upon in the series at the moment. But I love the contrasting colours with Koricho and Kai got on here. Like Koricho's primarily black, Kai's primarily white, contrasting colours there. Nice touch, and it's contrasting their different personalities, but also further cementing that they may potentially be in a relationship with each other because opposites attract, including the black and white colouring that they have with each other in terms of their outfits. So yeah, Kai's just reiterating to Tayo, oh yeah, good work out at sea the other day, Tayo, even though we're never going to explain how me and Alex got off the boat. Like, seriously, that is not even brought up in this chapter. Do you know what? I don't think it is going to be brought up. It's just going to be like, they're kind of Alex, the Goreng spies. They probably got out of that, unless Koricho made it so that so that his booming wouldn't affect Kai and Alex. I don't know. Like seriously, Ty you would have thought that would be wrong. Like, how did you guys escape from the boat? Never going to be explained. So just gotta go along with it. So yeah, and Kaya apologizes that he had to call him in, and Tayo's just like, yeah, I'm glad that you called me in, but why is this guy here? Referring to Creature. It's just like, yeah, what? Why is he here? As it seems that Creature's presence is just making Tayo even more nervous. Like he can basically sense the aura that's coming off Creature of just like, yeah, I don't want to be here with you. You don't want to be here. So yeah, let's just get this all out of the way. So yeah, we find out that this actually takes place a year after chapter 1. So it's been a year since the beginning of the series, even though it's been 3 years in line with how many chapters have come out. So yeah, maybe in another 3 years, in 6 years. So at it's chapter 162 now. So, 2, 4, 6, 12. So around chapter 324, we might be getting Tayo actually graduating from school at that point. We just don't know. With the amount of time we spend getting to this point, it's going to take, I feel like, a little bit more, even longer to get to that point. So 324. So we might actually be getting to my prediction of how long the series is actually going to go on for, like 400 chapters, 450 chapters. It might actually go on for that long now, because we get here. So it's been, oh no, it's not actually been it. It's been almost a year. So it's been almost a year since they got married. In the eyes of the Yozakura family, anyway, society, they're still only engaged. So that's a plot point we have to get to that point. Like Tayo and Mutsumi being officially married, and not only that, being able to officially adopt Ai as their adopted daughter, even though the parental figures, they're not actually the adopted parents now. So I feel like once they graduate from the high school, that's when they can be like, hey, we can officially adopt Ai. She can officially become a Yozakura at that point, and then maybe we can see them training her, getting her to fight, maybe see her in kindergarten, which is what I want. There's just so many possibilities of opening up with this chapter. As he says it, in just one more year, you'll graduate from school and turn 18, and the two of you will be officially married. But I love the reaction of Creature. It's just like, as he's hearing that, it's like, this is my worst nightmare to hear this. It's like, I'm here now, hearing this. Tayo's gonna be officially married to Mutsumi, my precious Mutsumi. It's just like, you can just see his brain just like exploding at a point. And it's kind of like, okay, fine, let's just get this out of the way. I don't want to hear that. Just rip that band-aid off. And Tayo is just like completely oblivious to it, although I think he's actually pretends like he knows exactly like why he's like this. He's just being like, okay, seriously, why is he here? He's grumpy, even though I kind of know why he's here, and I'm kind of just laughing it off as like, oh, that's just Creature. It's the last pitiful will of a desperate sister complex. Like, yeah, Creature, you're never gonna marry Mutsumi, so you might as well get over it. So anyway, continuing on, Kai goes on to explain like, oh, once you turn 18, Tayo, that's when your legal status will change in a handful of ways. You'll get a lot of paperwork, so be prepared for that, which we can all relate to. As soon as we turn 18, as soon as we become adults, much more paperwork that we have to deal with. Although still better than having to deal with school, because now that you're adults, you can do whatever you want. And it's kind of crazy how kids are like, some people are like, oh, I wish I could go back in time to school. Do you really? Do you really wish you could go back in time to getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning, whereas now you're an adult, you can stay up for as long as you want. You can do YouTube videos whenever you want, providing that you're doing them reasonable so that you're not disturbing other people out. But that's besides the point. You can do them whenever you want. You can be on the computer whenever you want. You can literally be on the computer until 6 o'clock when you're an adult, and if you're off work or anything, you can sleep in for that day. That is perfectly fine at this point. So yeah, I can understand why people would want to go back, like they don't have to deal with the responsibility of being an adult, but at the same time, you still have to get up at 6 o'clock, go to school for 6 hours, go home, do homework, and go to bed, and you would have to do that Monday to Friday. Whereas when you're adults, you basically have the freedom to do whatever you want whenever you want, provided within reason. But yeah, but yeah, Kai says, okay, to start this, we're going to have to make some general decisions. Basically, what kind of spy do you want to become, Tayo? As he reveals, like, the Spy Association career guidance form, which is like, okay, you got to set down your name, which spy role model you want, and what special skills and abilities you have. And Tayo's like, oh, this is kind of like school. It's almost no, it is school. It's basically deciding your future, Tile, in the Spy Association. So Kai goes on to explain exactly why this is such a big deal, because they can arrange missions that fit their style, or if there are specific skills they want in order to build in said world, they can recommend them to the correct association back school. So basically, it's saying like, okay, yeah, this is your future, Tile. So once you make this decision, this is going to be basically your life from now on in the Spy Association. Also, as well, I doubt that we're going to get Tile as taking the gold rank spy license while he's still in high school. So that's something as well that we need to see him getting gold rank spy, and also not only of that, but also taking on Asa and find out what his whole deal is. So yeah, plenty of opportunities to go off here, like maybe getting another big villain after Tile graduates from high school, after Asa is taken care of. We just don't know, but there's plenty of story opportunities that we could go down here that could make it go on for another 3 years or another 5 years. Yeah, so that would make it 8 years. So I feel like 8 years, like around 450, that would be perfect for Mission Yozakura family. But continuing on, Karicha's just basically trying to diss Tile at this point. It's just like, oh, is he capable of finding any art style? He couldn't find any style. He couldn't even defuse the bomb that I put in his morning ago. And I'm like, Karicha, what are you doing? Like, are you regressing in character development? Stop doing that, because we don't like that. And Kai's just like, oh, what, really? Then those bandages aren't from the fight at sea. Tao's just like, oh, I don't have a problem with it, but this time it seems to be completely different. And Creature's just like going on like, oh, I can't. Career guidance is a waste on him. Just kick him out of the association. And Kai's just having none of it from Creature, so he just takes off his hands, just like, put a sock in it, Creature. We've got business to be dealing with here. So Kai explains like, oh, you still have a year, so whatever takes your fancy is fine. Just think about it carefully and talk it over with everyone in the family. And Tao's just thinking like, oh, which spy I wish I could be. Now with Tile, I feel like they're going to go through all various examples in the shots, but I feel like he would be best suited as a spy who can attack as well as defend, given the fact that he is a frontline fighter at this point. He's been in a lot of battles, but also he's kind of like a defender as well. So he has those two skills that, if they're used simultaneously, I feel like he would be a legitimate asset to the Yozakura family. So we cut back over to the Yozakura family mansion, where we have Futaba and Shinzo sparring with each other, and they're like, your spy career, that's easy enough. Why not just be a frontline fighter like us? Protection or destruction, it's all straightforward. Both missions and good points, which, yeah, again makes sense. Like I said, for Tayo, like he'd be more inclined to be a frontline fighter, because of the fact that he has protection but also destruction as well, because he has Yui, the sword that turns into a stun gun. And again, I've got to reiterate here, this is a slice of life chapter focusing on character development, interacting with each other. Like I said in the last review, Red in Control Chaos, what more do you want? But also that's another point. I do love Futsuba's outfit here, of just like the leotard, and just how she's doing like ballet dances whilst also dodging Shinzo's attacks, which is just like barrages of punches out. She's able to balance on the boxing glove and do this complicated gymnastics technique to avoid all his attacks. It's a bit like if Saitama and Tatsumaki from One Punch Man were fighting each other, which is going to happen in the next One Punch Man chapter. So who knows what's going to happen there. But anyway, Tile goes on and just like doubts himself of like, yeah, but I'm not as skilled as either of you. I'm not sure I could do it. Like, Tile, you are as skilled of them at this point. You were the only one who at least could stand up to Momo in some capacity, only being surpassed by Koricho. But at the same time, you were one who wasn't taken over by Momo, whereas these two were. So yeah, I think you're getting up to their level, and I feel like with training from them and everyone around you, you could be a real great asset, even more so than you already have with the training you've had with the Yozakura siblings. I mean, compared to where you are at the beginning of the series, you are you have grown exponentially, my dude, and yeah, couldn't be prouder for Tile for that. But yeah, Shinzo's just like, oh, even a wuss like me can make it work sometimes. Yeah, yeah, and he goes on and says, besides, not all front lines are combat addicts like Futaba, but Futaba just poses back in Shinzo's phrase by saying, "Who's a combat addict?" Basically, like, yeah, excuse me, Shinzo, not a combat addict. What about all those guns that you come blazing in and your blooming is called destruction? So yeah, anyone who's a combat addict, you're the combat addict, even though you're total wuss, as you said. They go on to give other examples of just like some specialized in gathering intel, like Rio, and proclamation is also a frontline job. Through Shuru she does love going into the field despite being a CEO, and Shinzo says, oh, if you don't like the idea of attacking people, you could specialize in defense instead. As he mentions, like, your clothes here, these were all made for battle gear, made by me and Futaba, and it's easy use to design weapons and armor. So they could do real world testing, but it was quite hard, and having to kill 100 fake versions of Tile just to get it worn down and find out the limits on it. That was tough on them. And although I don't understand why they didn't just use Koricho for that, given what he has done in the past. But yeah, this is all information that is going to be relevant at the end of the chapter for why Tile makes the decision that he does. Futaba continues on and says, having hardening as you're blooming is totally geared towards combat though. So yeah, like I said, blooming can be used in both not blooming. Hardening is a blooming that can be used both offensive and defense, because obviously he can make his skin as hard as rock, and also his hardening can be used to make his punches as hard as like getting hit by a boulder. So yeah, makes a lot of sense there, and he has the guts for basically diving in the thick of things. Basically, what he did on the ship, like he basically just dived in. It's just like, I've got to save everyone, so I've got to dive in, even if I'm not thinking about my own safety. Tile says like, oh, he was just desperate back then because you guys were in danger. I've got to save you regardless of the consequences of what will happen to me, and Futaba just reiterates that is it Futaba? Yeah, it's Futaba who says like, really, Tile, you've got a knack for this, and if you want, I'll train you myself. And Shinzo's just like, no, don't do it for his sake. Don't do it for his sake. Probably because of the fact that Shinzo has had it all from Futaba, and he's just like, yeah, you won't want this because it's going to be rough, Tile, and given how you started at the beginning of the series, yeah, it's going to be a whole lot harder if you decide to go down that route. We cut over to Shion's room where she is in total disagreement. She's like, yeah, totally off the mark. I mean, it's obvious that you're one of us because you have a knack for being in the background, and it's like a data analysis or a disguise or a medicine, obviously referring to Kengo and Nanano, who are all there, and they're all just playing a Switch type console. And they're all just like, oh come on, Tayo, you know this is what Mutsumi would want. She wouldn't want any fighting and no killing, and she'd like that about it. And you'd have you'd have a blast. Yeah, come and be us. Come and have us. We'll train you ourselves. And I just love this react. Just love this little interaction between Keigo and Tayo here, of just like Keigo just be like, hey, if you take disguise, you can totally infiltrate. I'd use it as a excuse to cheat all the way, all you want. And I feel like Tayo interprets this as just like, wait a second, are you suggesting that I cheat on Mutsumi? Because that's not going to happen. Because he literally just gives like the death glare of like, you did not just suggest what I think you suggested, Keigo. And Keigo was just like, oh, no, I was messing about. Yeah, he was totally suggesting, like, hey, if you choose disguise, you could cheat on moves. Like, what the hell, Keigo? But anyway, Shion goes on and says that Musumi's a stickler too. She could dock your allowance for all kinds of reasons. Knowing how to tinker with E-Francis could become a handy skill. And Tayo's just like, I really don't want to do that to my wife, so why would you suggest something so evil? But Nano's just like, oh, you could just be a test subject for my moon medicines and poisons. Nobody's getting hurt, well, except you. And just the image of just Nano just being like a mad scientist doctor, which, by the way, Nano versus Mayuri Kurosutsu, who's more scarier? I would say Nano because he's younger, and he's just this big, giant mutant thing that is like, yeah, actually that would be a kid. Who do you think, who would you not, serious question, who would you guys not want to meet in a dark alleyway? Mayuri from Bleach or Nanano from Yozakura family? I'm interested to see what you guys think. I personally wouldn't want to meet both of them, but if I had to guess, I would pick Nanano because he's big and he's hulking. He clearly towers over Mayuri, and yeah, his drugs are just like, yeah, like that one that he did for the sneezing. Yeah, you pass out before you can even scream. Yeah, I'd be running away scared too. They continue to go on and try to convince Tai of just why they would be beneficial for him. As they say, having a twisted personality is critical too. Yeah, I don't think Tayo is going to be the one to have a a twisted personality. He's too much of a pacifist to have a twisted personality. And they continue on by saying, yeah, being mean enough to gouge a guy's weak point is important. Yeah, Tayo is not mean in any slight. You might train to figure it out without actually being mean, but in terms of being mean straight up, yeah, Tayo is not like that. As Shion goes on to say, like say cracking a certain brother's safe and swiping the single precious photo of himself that Gold Ride sporting her Hugh Leng permits to exist, and Kengo just doesn't realise that it's being referred to him at this point. It's just like, yeah, that's the one Master gave me as a graduation gift, and then that's where it clicks to me like, wait a second, how does Shion have that? And he goes to attack her like a cat. She's like, how did you get a hold of that? That's Master's deepest secret. Don't cause trouble for her. And this is where we get Mutsumi. I was going to come on it on something here. How did you open that save? It has a 100% factor bioauthorization. Oh, no. Yeah, so basically, Shion and G hacked it as sort of like a contest to hack open the safe, and Keigo's just like, yeah, don't let Master fight, don't do this to her, because this is a deeper, darker secret, before we get them being cut off by Mutsumi signing in and coming on at a time like, oh, it's almost dinner time, and Nano mentions like, I know those two are messing around, but I do think you got potential to be behind the scenes power. I really recommend it. And this is where Tayo gets a brainwave of just like, I see. I know exactly what kind of spy I want to be. And 3 days later, Kai's just looking at the information on the sheet, and he's just like shocked. Like, I was baffled when I saw this at first. I was just like, okay, this is the last person I would expect, but it turns out that the decision he's reached is that the spy or staff role model that he's going to look up to is Korichiro. Now, at first I was just like, really? But then we get But then we get like Kai actually reiterate what I was probably thinking when I was reading the chat. Your role model is the guy who finds every flimsy excuse he can to pummel you. Tayo, are you really that much of a masochist? But Tayo's just like, no, no, no. That's not why. That's not why I'm doing this. I've given this a lot of thought, and I've come to the conclusion that everybody made convincing arguments for their specialities too. But no matter what they're talking about, I saw Karicho in all of them. In all of them, which does make sense. That makes the most sense here because Karicho. Basically, Karicho has been the mentor for Tayo ever since he started at the in the Yozakura family. Even though he's had a disdain for Tayo, at the same time he's been like, okay, this is the guy that's married to my sister. Even though I don't like it, I've got to train with this guy. I've got to work with him, and if he can get it, he can get it. Even though I'm going to put him through a living hell as a result of it, and I'm going to train him how to be not just a frontline fighter, which is what he's been doing, but also how to be a support and how to look after the family and defend them whenever it comes to it. So basically, doing exactly what I suggested, like being the ultimate attack, but also the ultimate defense for the for the family, which is what Karicho is. Karicho is a frontline fighter. He is the strongest, and he has the most powerful blooming. Like no question about that. That blooming of Void is absolutely terrifying. But at the same time, he knows when to defend the family and when to get them out of sticky situations, which is what Tile needs to do. Like Steel Spider is perfect for attack and also defense as well, as we've seen through all the battles that Karicho has been in. Like he's using it for offenses and defenses, which is what hardening can be done, which is obviously why Taiyo chose it. But also as well, he mentions like how he designs clothing for Mutsumi. They were perfect outfits from her perspective and non-restrictive. Futama and Shinso said only he could have come up with them. Then there's this unique data security system. No one can get at her game, banking, or personal data. Shion said Karicho wrote the basis for that. So basically, Tayo's saying like, yeah, Karicho, even though they're saying like, oh, we designed it, like Karicho was the mastermind behind it all. And he mentions like, no matter how grumpy he is, he's always watching out for us. So yeah, kind of what I'm saying, like, yeah, he's always grumpy. He's always like, why do I have to deal with Tayo? I want to be with Mitsubi. At the same time, he's like, yeah, but he's still gonna be the one now, so I guess I've got to work with him, and he is family now, so I've got to protect him just as much as I would protect Mutsumi, because I know he would do the same for Mutsumi and for my family as well. And Kai agrees with him, like, yeah, he goes overboard, but anyone can tell that he really cares about it. And that is a fact. Like, Karicho may go overboard at times, but at the same time, deep down, he's like, I'm doing this because I care about my family, and I am the oldest sibling. I've got to have that responsibility on my shoulder. But at the same time, he needs to learn when to take a step back and be in a more supportive role for the family. I feel like that's something that Karicho does need to learn a little bit more throughout the rest of the series. But Tyler's like, honestly, I'm not sure what kind of spy I could become. I don't know what my true talents are yet. But if I can pick someone to be like, I want to be a spy who can protect Mutsumi no matter what, just like Karicho does. But not only that, he also protects everyone around him, even Tayo. And he says, though he's way out of my league, I know I'll never be like him. And and I love that they're joking about that. Even though he's way out of my league, I know I'll never be like him. And kind of like, yeah, that guy's a jerk, but there's no denying he's gifted. And yeah, even people who hate Karicho at the beginning of the series will have to admit, like, yeah, he is strong. He is really powerful. So he does have the skills to pay the bills. He's not just like, oh, I'm just going to be the protective older brother. Like, no, he will put himself on the line and risk himself for his family, even at the cost of his own life, like I said. And Karicho's, and Kai says, I wouldn't say never though. After all, for all that he's effortlessly the immovable object, you're the one person to ever overcome it. Like noticing, like, yeah, Tayo, he's not impossible to reach. You are the only one that's capable of reaching Karicho, and I just love how we're going to see this dynamic develop. Like Karicho is like basically, like I said, he's the mentor figure of the series to Tayo, even though he despises him a little bit. So we cut over to Karicho going like, oh, Musume, forgive me. Yes, I tinkered with Tayo's morning alarm bomb, but it was just a little prank. I wasn't really trying to kill him or anything. Please open the door and let me see your smile again. And Mutsumi's just like, yeah, Karicho, I'm not angry at you, but at the same time, I am disappointed at you. The noise disturbed me, so could you please leave now? And Karicho is just there, just being like, bawling his eyes off, just like, but I admit the security door you were, no, don't be so formal, please. It's because she's basically saying like, oh, but darn it, Karicho, the security door you installed for me is very useful. I'm grateful, elder brother, and it's just more painful for him. And Tyler's just like, yeah, maybe I picked the wrong person. Like, no, you definitely picked the right person because Karicho is the jack of all trades, basically has no defining weakness except for how Asa was able to negate his blooming, which that is something that we're going to have to focus on as well. Like, what was that ability that negated Karicho's blooming? Like, basically, Karicho was shocked by that. It's like, what has happened to my blooming? Like, that is something that Karicho didn't expect, so that's something we're going to have to focus on. But at the same time, I feel like what we're going to be focusing on is slice of life, but also getting Tayo up to a level that he can probably take the gold ranks by when he graduates. That is something that I feel like we're going to be getting through the next couple of chapters, and maybe the next year of the series. I don't think we're going to be focusing on Asa all that much because we've just had the big arc with Momo. I feel like we need to let Asa take the year to get him set up, get him established, and then next year we move into like, okay, now we're going to take him on, figure out what's going on with all of him, and it's going to be the year of the antagonist again next year, which will be pretty appropriate because we'll have the year of the anime as well. So we'll get to see that. We'll get people saying like, oh, okay, this is where the anime starts. So let's see where it is now, and they'll get to experience one of the great, probably another great antagonist like we got with Momo. So yeah, I feel like what we need to do. By the way, it's the end of the it's the end of the chapter now. That was the end of the chapter. So yeah, like I said, we're gonna. I feel like we need to leave Asa for the next year and focus more on getting Tayo up to a level that rivals Karicho, and like I said, focusing more on his school life and moving up to his graduation, marrying Mutsumi officially, and then getting the gold rank license. That's something I feel needs to happen. Like, Tayo needs to be a gold rank by the end of the series. That is something that is guaranteed. So yeah, got nothing else to say on the chapter. Just like good slice of life chapter, character development, find out what Tayo's next goal is. Basically, like, okay, I'm gonna be training with Karicho to be a spy that's just like him, but develop it in my own way, so I can protect Mutsumi just as much as he protects Mutsumi. And like I said, leave Asa for next year, but sprinkle him throughout this year to find out clues of like who he is, what his relationship to the Yozakura family is, whether or not it goes back to Parajam's theory of Asa being the creator, basically creating the family in an artificial way, not a natural way. That just remains to be seen. It's just theory now. But if that's the case, it wouldn't surprise me at all in the slightest. And this is what I love most about Mission Yozakura, how it's separated itself completely from Spy X Family. How it's become more of like a similar type of series, but more science fiction adventure rather than just straight up real life slice of life. It's found its footing, it knows what it wants to do, and it's not ashamed to do that. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to find out where we go next year, for the next year, and what's going to be moving forward for all the characters. But what did you guys think of this chapter? Let me know. Like, subscribe, comment, all that jazz. And this will be Lasherluke signing off. Later, guys.